All right, so I'm on the waterfall slab. I've got to cut the end off, right? So this is going to be, the intent of this thing is water is going to be flowing from a kind of a basin, a quasi basin that starts over at the other end of the stone. I'm going to carve out the hole, basically center this stone, and then it's gonna pour out this edge over here. The stone's 12 inches thick, so I have to have a straight end for the water, right? And we want to be somewhat perpendicular and parallel with our edges, right? So there's actually going to be 4 feet that are going to be visible above the wall. So there's a 4-foot cantilever. So it's going to go up to about right where my blower is, right there. So this is kind of a nice square section to be visible as the cantilevered waterfall, right? So it's going to be the live edge, and you'll be able to see the waterfall slab from a deck above with a diving board, and you'll be able to walk underneath the waterfall slab on a walkway. So the waterfall slab is about 7 feet up, sitting on top of a wall underneath a timber frame structure on a concrete footing and base. The stone itself is 12 tons, or 6 tons, 12,000 pounds, right? So I've actually got 12-ton jacks in here to be safe. I've got these bars here so I can do my leveling work off of there, and it's adjustable. But so the main challenge that I was coming across at first is I've got to cut the end of the stone off, and that's about the full depth of my quick cut, right? 14-inch blade on a quick cut is about 4 3/4 cut depth, right, on average. And normally, like, I would have done this with a chainsaw. I used to have an ICS 14-inch chainsaw that you can plunge cut, and you could easily do this whole edge with the chainsaw, or at least split the piece off clean. So the other option is to drill and feather and wedge it. Now, the one issue with drilling and feather and wedges is you could risk blowing out the underside. I don't have access to the underside because, again, 6-ton stone, it ain't moving. I'm not flipping it over. I'm not crawling underneath there. But yeah, so rather than just drilling the whole thing and feather and wedging it and risk a potential blowout on the underside, I'm trying to get a little closer in depth. So I'm going to take out this channel that I just curve cut with my saw. So I've got 5 cuts in there. So there'll be 4 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4. I just knock these 4 chunks out. They're going to come out super easily. Like, I just wedge them out, break them off. Then I'll have a nice clean center line. This is about a 5-inch channel here. So when I get to the depth of this middle, like, there's going to be a cut line at the very bottom of my clean out section. And then I'll just feather and wedge it from that cut line there. I'll be able to fit my drill into the depth of the channel there, so I can drill out the other side and not have so much of it relying on feather and wedges and drills. And then also that way, since this is going to be this is actually going to be angled in the end, but I just marked the plumb. This line where I'm cutting the edge at is going to be about 2.5, 3 inches away from my split end, right? Because this is like such a critical edge, right? I can't risk this breaking, so I need to do the rough split far away from it, but close enough so that I can work the rest in with a tool, right? So once I get this about this far away, I can easily just cut with my flush mount grinder, my 9-inch, 2-3 inches at a time, and then I just knock in, right? Because I'll have an edge here, and I can just take my chisel and knock this in and break off those pieces, and then I'll be able to cut the whole depth of that edge clean, right? I can't do it because the stone's too big like this. Like, I have to get rid of a lot of this, right? I can cut straight through if I've got, you know, a couple inches, and I can just knock pieces off. So that's basically the principle there. Yeah, so next, like, actually I could probably even show you just how easy these are gonna pop out. I'll do the whole thing with greater caution from up above. I don't want any accidents to happen. I don't want to like accidentally split this whole end of the stone off and crush my feet. I'm not even wearing my steel toes at this moment. But yeah, see, this is already loose, right? So I just take all these pieces out and then I'll come back.